Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of A Conversation With, and may I say, the most important edition of A Conversation With thus far. I am me, Spencer Kyte, here on SevereMMA, joined by the man that brought me here to SevereMMA, the pod god himself, Sheehan. Good to have you, sir. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you, Spencer. Thank you. I can be either take credit for bringing you here, for bringing you here, or be blamed for bringing you here. So I don't know which one it is, but
yeah, depends what people think of me.
Indeed, yeah. I don't think I've ever been interviewed on SevereMMA before, so
there we go. Well, so part of the reason for the reach out, obviously, have to have you on at some point to go through a little bit of your progression, a little bit of just different things that people may not know about you, as you are the guy that's very prominent here, and as you just said, not usually the guy on the other side of the mic. Part of it is that this week we celebrated 400 episodes of the SevereMMA podcast. Congrats to yourself and to Graham. It was a great episode. As I said the other day on Twitter, people that don't understand what it takes to get to 400 episodes, like what an achievement that is. I talked to Pip when he was getting ready for number 500. You guys are closing in on that. And so, I mean, now that I have you here directly and it's not just Twitter, congratulations, man. It means it's quite impressive.
I appreciate it. I actually, more than the 400 itself, I take pride in the fact that we've never missed a week. And I've never missed a week. I've been on every single of the 400 podcasts. So I'm pretty happy with that, to be honest. When I started it, and I always, you'll see this on like the WhatsApp group we have, but I always preach consistency. If anyone ever asks me about coming to something, well, you didn't need this conversation, obviously, because you haven't. But anyone else like coming up, you can ask Ian, ask Andy, ask any lads. I always say consistency. You need to do it. If you have an idea, I'm going to do this, do it Monday at 3 p.m. this Monday, next Monday, the Monday after, every single week. And I really like firmly believe things like that help. And like Laura Zango was announced, a while back about getting the position, doing the color commentary for the UFC. And I was thinking about it, like, as I saw the thing coming in my inbox, and I'm thinking, like, imagine the amount of times she just turned up, the amount of times she just said, right, I'm going to go for this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to keep doing this. Probably didn't get much money out of it, probably didn't get many plaudits from it, probably got a lot of abuse for doing it, but she still showed up and she still did it. And to go above and beyond as well. Like, I remember she DM'd me one day and was like, I want to talk about judging, and I literally sat in this seat for 75 minutes talking about judging with her. Like, she didn't need to do that. She went above and beyond. I know she has talked to judges and done different things. For people like that to go above and beyond and be consistent and earn their way and learn their craft. Like, I always took I always took a lot from people like that. And I see someone like that and I go, right, they're there because of that. That's what I need to do. And obviously Laura's doing it very recently, I suppose. But I was looking years ago, looking at Ariel doing his show every Monday, looking at Luke Thomas, looking at Crooklyn putting out their show every single week at the same time every week, or around the same time, or whatever it might be. I was thinking, that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. That's how I'm going to have to do it. And sometimes you might look at someone and go, oh, well, how did they get there? How are they known? That's how you fucking do it. That's how I did it. That's how I think anyone should do it. And like, I put up on at New Year's, there was like, I released at least 6 podcasts every week, 52 weeks in the last year. Every single week, at least 6 podcasts with me in them. Like, that's how you do it. And that's how I kind of started off. I know where the questions started, but something like I really think that's important, though. The consistency, the effort, to go on above and beyond. You know that very, very well. And I think if you want to get anywhere in life, that's the way to fucking do it. It really is.
We will get back to that consistency piece and some of the guidance, advice, direction you would give people. But we will start how we always do. Sheehan, when did you fall in love with combat sports?
Combat sports, I suppose it's an interesting one. Probably with Ricky Hatton. I was a massive Ricky Hatton fan growing up. I wasn't like 7 years old, a massive boxing fan, or was MMA around when I was 7? 95 it was, just about, but no, I wasn't a massive MMA fan watching UFC. I'm not going to give you I was down in Blockbuster Video and I saw UFC 1. I was like, oh my God, what's it? That's not me. No, I didn't do that. I was a Ricky Hatton fan. You did that, yeah, that was you.
Yeah.
Well, you're a little,
I'm a little older than you.
A few years of me, yeah. So, and not to say I didn't, maybe I did, but I've also have a terrible memory. That's one thing you'll probably learn in this conversation. But yeah, so I remember people can probably put the years together whenever this was, but my brother's 7 years older than me, and he was out, had a job, and he was working and had money and stuff, and he got Sky. Like when we were growing up, we had Sky the odd time, but then we got rid of it, and we had like 4 channels for like 10 years. When he got a job and had money, he got it back in. So Ricky Hatton at that time was on Sky Sports coming up, and like from his first, maybe, I don't know, his 10th fight, or maybe earlier than that. People with better memory, as I said again, will probably be able to tell you, but his journey the whole way up to have those big fights was the thing that really got my interest in combat sports. Like I was a fan of Ricky Hatton, a massive, massive fan of Ricky Hatton. I still believe he's an all-time great. Like you lose to Pacquiao, you lose to Mayweather. Those are 2 of the greatest boxers of all time, So that's what kind of got me into it. I remember staying up late at night when, it was a thing to stay up late at night. And for me now,
it was an odd occurrence as opposed to a weekly occurrence.
It's normal now, but yeah, and I loved it. And I remember, we'd have snacks and a bottle of Coke or something, and we'd be there at 3 o'clock watching him over, over in Vegas, wherever he was fighting, or then like on prime time. On a Saturday night when he was fighting in the UK, and it was just absolutely brilliant. I loved his fights. I absolutely loved them. And, we saw bits and pieces of everyone. Steve Collins is a great boxer in Ireland as well. His fights were absolutely epic around here when I was growing up. And, Tyson, I suppose, as well. And Lennox Lewis and stuff. But I wouldn't have said I was like a historian of the game, or definitely not that, or a massive boxing fan or anything like that. But when I saw Ricky Hatton and I saw what he was doing, I really loved it. And it's something like Ricky Hatton is one I'll always remember, like adoring as he came on the way up. So like after that, then like I was watching a bit of boxing, like it was on a Saturday night or whatever. And yeah, it wasn't until I got to college then I was forced to discover MMA because of one of my friends calling up to our house and refusing to turn off tough. And yeah, as the rest they say, is history and the future at that time. But that was 2006, I think, ish. So yeah, since then I've kind of been all into MMA. But yeah, it definitely started for me. I wouldn't say maybe started with Ricky Hatton, but my love came, as a question you asked, where did your love come from? That was when it started, I think.
So you mentioned off at college. How does a man with a degree in maths transition into being a guy that's doing 6 podcasts every week for 52 consecutive weeks about this here sport that you and I both love and have a love-hate relationship with at times? What's the transition there of Shawnee going through for maths? What was the original target? What originally did you set out wanting to do in life? Because I know it wasn't this. And then we'll get to how did we get to this?
So there was never a target. I never knew what I wanted to do. I remember when I was in 6th year in school, which would be like the last year before you go to college. You in Ireland, there's this thing. It's called a CAO form, where you have to fill out, what college programs you want to do. So you could say like, I want to be a teacher, I want to be a dentist, I want to be a doctor, and all that shit. And you need a certain amount of points based on your exams and things like that. So I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like I was always good with numbers and maths and stuff. And I was looking at like being an actuary and whatever the fuck that is. And you needed like, I don't know, 530 points or something. I maybe could have gotten that if I wanted to put in a lot of effort. But I remember I went to this career guidance person who I'll always remember they had really fucking fast internet, and I was never seen really fast internet like that before. And that's the biggest thing I honestly took from one.
That's the takeaway, was I want to get somewhere that I have really fast internet.
Yeah, but like they asked me a lot of questions and they input them into this fucking program, and it picked out like, you should do a arts degree in mathematics and economics. So that's what I did. That's what I applied for. I did it, and well, from there, I was like, okay, I'll be a teacher. So I was like, okay, I'll be a maths teacher. I'll be an economics teacher. And I got to college, and I think I realized pretty quickly that I had absolutely no interest in any of this. But as Irish as I am, I stuck at it and I did it, and I failed a few and I got through most of them, and I ended up getting my degree of a 3-year course in 4 years. And yeah, then I like
you and I had a very similar university experience. It sounds like don't know what I want to do. All right, I'll just go do this thing. It's going to take a little longer than I originally thought, but let me just get this piece of paper and get the hell out of here.
I got drinking a lot, and that was great.
Yeah, good
so
times.
I said it was a 3-year course. I did it in 4 years. I failed one thing, right? And so this is a good story. It was called Mathematica or some shit. It was like you input these things into a computer and it gave you these fucking, I don't know what the fuck it was, right? So you needed a program on a computer to do it. And I got 0% in my first exam because I didn't have the program, right? So I bought the program before my repeat exam, which happened in November. So I bought it off of eBay or somewhere back then. It came in a disc, and it came like it came maybe a month and a half or something before the exam. Got it, put it into my laptop at the time, and said the key has already been used for this program. You're not allowed to use it. So I was like, oh fuck. And I paid like 90 quid or whatever for it, which at the time as a student I didn't have that sort of money. So I got onto like the Wolfgram. It was Wolfgram Mathematica, that's what it was. So I got onto them, emailed them back and forth, and they were like, okay, we will give you a new thing once we have verified your payment and verified from the other person that they've sold it to you and all. So it took weeks and weeks and weeks, right, to get this sorted. And I got it 1.5 days before the exam, right? So I had to learn all...
a day and a half to learn a program.
A day and a half. And the pass mark here in Ireland is 40%, right? I got 39%. So I had to repeat.
So you and I really did have very similar university experiences. So I failed 2 classes.
Yeah.
One of them that I just never turned up for. The other was, so we had to take, for part of my degree, you had to do 2 language or like other culture courses. So I stupidly, having done French in school, because Canada, French Canadian, was like, I'll just do French again. But it was at 8 o'clock or 8:30, I think, on Thursday mornings, and Wednesday night was the local pub night. So I never turned up. I got an F-, which is something I learned existed, which means it's 39% or below. They then asked me to leave after that year and were like, why don't you take 8 months to think about your career? I also, in stats, got an F+ for 49.5%, where he wouldn't give me the 0.5% and let me pass. And my exact words were, do you really want to see me here again next year? And he was like, well, if I give it to you, I have to give it to everybody. To which I responded, so give it to fucking everybody. Nope. Had to do it again. Got a C+ the second time around. And when the school was like, hey, why don't you stick around and do a 4th year? I was like, no, you can't have any more of my money. I'm leaving. Thank you.
That's the thing as well with me. When I had to repeat that exam, I got 39% in. I only had one, class to repeat in the whole next year.
Right.
So like I didn't have any classes before Christmas. So from like October to January, I had no classes. So what I did was I worked like, and I here you get a job in the summer and then you that's your drinking money for the year. I worked an extra 10 weeks, I think it was. So I was balling for the whole year. I had so much money for the whole fucking year. One morning a week, then, or maybe 2 after Christmas.
Right.
I got 39% in the exam with fucking 1 day of study. I knew I was going to pass it. Like right. I could have passed it in the first day we came back. So yeah, that was a great year. But like I just think, and I'm not that proud of that, to be honest. It's funny or whatever. Like I don't like not putting in an effort to do it after I just start off. Oh, you have to be consistent and put in effort. But like
listen, the consistency thing is a thing you learn over time and age and experience and all of that. So
but also it's something you care about. Like I knew very quickly I didn't care about. Like it was just, I don't know. I suppose a lot of people, you're asking an 18-year-old to make a decision that's going to be for the rest of their life. And that makes no fucking sense. It's so like, it's such a bad way of doing it. And I was thrown in there. Like, and
I've always said if I could go back, I would do college. So college here is more hands-on. It is more application stuff. Now, maybe there would be, given where I've gotten to and what I'm doing presently, I would go the journalism school route or something like that, do something a little more hands-on that way. But like, as you just said, you're asking somebody that's 17, 18, maybe 19, go figure out what you're going to do. And it's going to cost you all of this money. I had no clue. I didn't have any life skills in terms of like managing myself and being committed and responsible to the things that I had to do. I knew that I wanted to have fun and make friends. I got out of where I was going to high school and moved away. So like, no clue. The consistency and understanding responsibility part came much later on down the line.
It's great though to be able to learn something like that, I think, isn't it? Like my niece at the moment, she's around that age as well, and she's like wondering, should I go to college or should I do something online? And I'm kind of, even though like I just talked about there, it's probably like, some people will call that a waste of 4 years, what I did, and it was in a way 100%. But also like the things you learn, you know, not necessarily even about yourself, but I'm sure a lot of people do, but like just how to like fucking keep your room tidy or cook your food or walk to the shop, and you learn, you know, it's very vital. And some people have that, but the vast majority of people, especially younger people today, absolutely don't have that. And to learn that and to be able to, you know, to bring that with you for the rest of your life, but also to kind of to make friends and just, you know, I think it's a massive thing. Like if we could just do that without the actual college part, and then after that we do the college part or something, I think it'd make more sense. But yeah, like my plan after that then was like to you know, to probably get a degree and probably do that. But my mother got very sick just as I had finished college, and that kind of scuppered all my plans. I didn't have any plans set in stone or anything like that. So, but yeah, she was very bad and she ended up dying about a year and a half after that. And I was kind of caring for her for a while and things like that afterwards. So that really kind of changed all my plans. And it was around that time, like I was spending a lot of time at home and stuff, where I kind of fell into MMA and kind of started doing a bit of writing about MMA and started, you know, even maybe doing a few podcasts and things around in as well. And, you know, I don't know, it was obviously a big switch. You know, everyone is probably taking big switches in their life, going from one thing to another. But like, even then, it was never like MMA was something that I found that I was like, oh, I really like this. And I like kind of being involved in it and I enjoy doing it and all of that, but I never thought it'd be a job or never thought it'd be something I'd be able to do for a long stretch until, you know, 16 months ago or whatever, when I was lucky enough to start doing it. So yeah, like I was just, you know, from like 24 until like 30 or whatever, it was very much like fly by the seat of your pants. It was very much like trying my best, trying to get by, trying to do what I do, you know, working and things like that, and trying to do MMA on the side. And then it kind of turned around a bit for me. And I feel like that probably 6 or 7 years of not getting paid to do it is probably the reason why maybe someone wants to pay me today. But hopefully that is anyway.
Well, we'll get to the trying to get through it. I want to start though of just, I know it was HOV MMA, right? Hove MMA.
Yeah. That was
to
it,
start. Yeah. What was it for you that just led you to start? I want to write about it. So like, I know for myself, I had always enjoyed writing. I had been doing general sports, including some UFC stuff, making very, very small amounts of money on the internet. And then as we were going away to get married, I was like, can't do all of them. It's too much work. It's too hard to pay attention to everything. What am I going to focus on? It's going to be MMA because it looked like a way in. What was it for you that made you go, this is a thing I think I want to invest some time and energy into?
I don't know, did that ever happen, to be honest. So I was just a fan of MMA at the start, obviously from around 2006, and I used to listen to Steffi Haynes' show over. I think it was maybe MMA Sentinel at the time, or Tap Out Radio. I would say it was at the time, and I I used to do like, she used to run prizes, giving away t-shirts and stuff, and I used to help her out by doing them, and I used to kind of keep the chat going at times maybe and stuff. And like, there'd be people in the chat like fucking Tito Ortiz could be there, or Michael Bisping, or Ian McCall would be there, or whoever, and Luke Thomas might be on the show, or Cub Swanson and other people like that. So I used to go on that chat every week. Like, it was great as an MMA fan back there. You could literally go on a chat with like 7 people listening to a show, and 2 of them could be like future fucking UFC champions. Like, it was literally like that. So it was great. So I used to go on it every week, and there's different people on it. And I was kind of I started doing like my picks, like just every week tweeting out my picks or putting them like in that show and everyone to do it. And I kind of mentioned I'd love to keep a track of these. Is there anywhere like would be good to like put a blog where I could start a blog or something like that? Literally, I don't want to write any articles or anything like that, just to keep a track of my picks. And then Dan Rose was in there, who has been around a long time in MMA and done a lot of different things. And he was running a HOV MMA at the time, a History of Violence MMA was called. And he was like, I run this website, send me your picks every week and I'll put them up there. So I think I did that maybe only once, maybe never actually, because I think I can't remember, but I remember him and Dave Reno. Dave was, Dave and Dan were great. I worked more with Dave, I think, at the kind of the start. Dave was an absolutely great guy. And he kind of encouraged me. He was like, why don't you, and he used to come in the show, and he knew me from like Twitter and with my 50 followers and stuff at the time. And he encouraged me like, oh, why don't you write an article about this person or this person or this person? And I wrote an article. My first ever article was about Daniel Cormier. And I think he was
my favorite
fighter. I think he was in Strikeforce at the time. People could pick up the dates, whatever, like in 2010-ish anyway, whenever it was. I think that's what my memory now, as I said, my memory started. It was one of many. I think it was maybe my first article that like, I think he might have retweeted it, or like, 50 people read it or something like that. So I was like, oh my God, this is great. It was kind of doing well. So it kind of went from there. And I was doing a good few articles there with HOV MMA. And I've never really been a good writer. Definitely not a good writer. Definitely not then. I improved a bit, but never. I enjoyed writing about MMA. I enjoyed being involved kind of in MMA, or getting like a fighter story, or getting a bit of knowledge out there, but I never enjoyed the actual writing part of it itself. That's not me. I'm more a kind of a numbers guy or a talking guy and things like that. So, but yeah, that's where I got the start. And I said from the start, I was very consistent every week. Like if there was a UFC or whatever on, I'd write an article about Cormier, I'd write an article about John Jones or Ian McCall, or put up my picks or whatever it might be. But that's 2010. That's 13 years ago now. That's a long time. And I actually remember as well, I remember saying to myself, when they asked me about putting up an article, I delayed it for a few weeks because I was like, I remember at the time, I remember the date I started watching MMA at the start. I was like, I don't want to put up an article without having been a fan of MMA for 4 years. I don't know why, but I remember at the time, it was like, I don't want to be one of those people like that's like, oh, I've been watching MMA for a week and I'm some sort of expert or something. So I was like, you see a lot of people coming in nowadays, watch one Conor McGregor fight and they're experts. So I was 4 years a fan before I put it in. So what's that, 17 years? That's a long time to be watching. You're longer than me, I know, but still, I'd like to think that's a good old time now.
That is a good old time. You mentioned Steffi Haynes, the great Crooklyn, many, many times. Credit her for a lot of your foray and entry into this. Is there a way to speak to me about that relationship and what she means? Obviously, people that are watching this probably know Bloody Elbow was previously with Vox Media. Vox has subsequently pulled the plug. Everybody there from Kid Nate on down has been let go, has been given their notice. From what we understand and what Zane Simon has tweeted out, they're going to try to do their best to keep it running themselves. But we are losing a pillar of this industry, and that includes your dear friend, Steffi Haynes. Can you just, give me a quick of what that woman means? Because she is a legend in this. I remember her and Evan Showman and Loco doing radio. Was one of my early intros into this and into talking to people, including Evan and Loco, who I still talk to this day. What's she mean to you, and how did she help steer you down this road?
I'll put it to you this way. without Steffi, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. No way in hell, never. Apart from, you know, my own family and all of that, I don't think there's anyone as pivotal to me covering MMA as Steffi was. Honestly, she was absolutely brilliant. She was the first one to ever put me on a podcast. I remember I was on a podcast with Cub Swanson first time ever, and I was at UFC Dublin. Then after that, I think it was UFC Dublin, and Cub Swanson was there, and I was like, I was on a podcast with you there a couple of weeks ago. And he was like, "Who the fuck are you?" Kind of looking at me, who's this guy? But yeah, she was absolutely brilliant. But she gave loads of people chances. She brought people onto her podcast. You know, I remember one time, and you know, she tried to get me to do a podcast with her, and then I kind of half pulled out of it, thinking like, oh geez, I'm doing a lot of stuff now. I don't know, do I need another thing? And like, I felt really bad after this, and I was like, oh, why didn't I do that? But like, I was thinking afterwards, and this was probably a paid opportunity that I just turned down. What the fuck am I doing? But like, she would try to do that. She would try to give you that chance. She would bring you on. She would make you a part of it. She was just so nice and so good to everyone. Like, would tweet out your name, I'll follow this guy, he's really good, he said. And she's done that with many people down throughout the years, and like, just so nice. Like, every time it's my birthday, I open up an email and I get some present sent or a gift card or something every year. I've never met Steffi, never met her. You know, that's the type of person she is. She's good all the way through, just an absolutely great person. And like, I know there's some people like, oh, we have our political views, or this person's our political views. I don't give a shit about any of that. I would go to fucking bat for Steffi every fucking day of the week. She is just a great person, and I hope, as you said there, that bloody hell can keep going in the way it is, and she can keep doing all the great stuff she's doing the way, you know, she is doing it, because like, she really, really, really deserves it. Honestly, she's absolutely fantastic. But it's not just me. I guarantee you there's probably 10, 15, 20 other people that will tell you the same story I will tell you about Steffi, how good she is, you know, just to absolutely everyone. She's a saint. She's an absolute saint. And I always find it weird as well, you know, and this is me personally, but you know, I mentioned Laura Sanko earlier on, and they talk about, you know, women covering MMA and how it's a tough time for them and everything. And I really, you know, I understand that. But like, I never found it weird. Like, if someone, you know, a woman had their say on MMA or had their opinion on MMA, the most highly held opinion I've ever had in MMA is from someone who was a woman. So I thank her for that as well.
Right away, the foremost expert you looked to was obviously a woman.
There was Ariel as well at the time. I was looking into it, and that Ariel's been a great help to me as well. But no doubt about it, Stephanie gave me the time of day, and I'll forever be grateful. If there's anything I can ever do to help her back in an absolute second, I would do it.
So you're going to hit me with a agua now or some shit like that here when I say this. You've done that for a lot of people yourself. This site,
agua no.
This site, SevereMMA, under your stewardship, to some extent, shout outs to Graham as well, has brought on and cultivated some great talent. Currently has a great lineup of people, including Ian O'Neill, Harry Powell, Andy Stevenson, all the lads. Quilcha, I'm happy every time I get to say his name because I say it properly. I listened. What's it like for you to now be helping in that same way Steffi helped you, of showing people the ropes, of showing them a lane and providing them with opportunities of, okay, these are the things you want to do. Here's where you can do it, but here's what you need. Here's what you need to know. And if I can help in any way, I'm here to help.
It's really massive for me. Like, it's something I've never actually thought of it, because a direct correlation with what Steffi did for me, but there absolutely is. I feel it's my duty as well to kind of do it, to help people along, because I was helped along. And I know that's a bit, you know, I'm not that nice of a person, to be honest.
You are. You play not that nice of a person on television at times and on podcasts at times. And we used to always sign off the preview with don't follow Sean. He doesn't want you to follow him.
I don't.
But you are that nice of a person and that good of a person.
I know. The only, like, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I do love helping people like that. Like, to me, seeing someone like Ian, you know, seeing someone like Harry, and you've been helping Harry a lot as well, so, and I'm sure Ian as well. But like, seeing them blossom, you know, that's nearly worth more than a fucking paycheck at the end of the week or the end of the month. I absolutely love that shit. But you know, one reason I've kind of, and I you know what, I said I was going to stop doing that as much as I used to, but I've actually probably done it more, is like the people who don't listen, not even just listen, but they don't appreciate it, or they don't take the chance, or they don't, you know, take the opportunity. Or you help them and then they do take the opportunity and then they throw it in your fucking face, something like that, which has happened to me more than once. Like it's probably wrong, but it's made me kind of not want to do it a lot of times as well. And that's, you know, one thing with MMA, there's some great people in it, but there's some fucking pricks as well. I would say in MMA, myself included, I would say that. But no, I love seeing people like take their opportunities and help them out. But yeah, as you said as well, you mentioned Graham, like the opportunity Graham has given to so many people, myself included, down through the years as well. Like look at Andrew McGahan, the opportunity he, like himself and Graham kind of, I wouldn't say maybe Graham gave him an opportunity, but himself and Graham built it up. And look where Andrew went, and Andrew could be working anywhere in the world now if he wanted to be. I know he's doing his jiu-jitsu thing and doing a great job of it. Shout out to Andrew with all his medals and all that. But like, you know, Nick Baldwin got an opportunity with SevereMMA as well and did great things with it. And there's Danny Segura as well. There's so many other people down through the years who've gotten an opportunity with SevereMMA and have taken it and have been able to go and get jobs or earn money and do the right things. And, you know, to see Ian, like, or Andy or Harry do that as well and do it the right way. And it's not like if you're in it to go out and earn money and you know, do that, it doesn't matter if you're with SevereMMA, it doesn't matter anywhere. It's going to be very, I just said 17 years there earlier, didn't I?
It's a tough racket.
It's a year and a half where I've been earning a bit of money, so it's not exactly a racket that's open for everyone. But even if you never earned the money from it, or you only did a podcast or 2 podcasts a week to be involved, to enjoy it, to have it as a pastime, to have it as something you're passionate about, to make friends like yourself, or you know, for myself and Ian, myself and Harry, yourself and all the lads as well, across fucking countries and borders, it's just great. Like I love that part of it as well, and to be able to, you know, help people along in that, I love doing that, and I love when, you know, we break stories in the odd time and on, and when the lads do it and they have it done the right way before they even come to you with it, you know, that's the sort of thing. Like there's an art to that, and you know, I think Graham learned that maybe before I did, but we kind of learned it together coming on the web. Like we had no teachers in this shit.
Right.
we were sent into McGregor Mania and go, right, you're the representatives of fucking MMA in Ireland, learn how to do it. We broke news of people getting to the UFC and people, you know, having big fights and all of this stuff, and we had to realize and learn from other people and get advice on how to do it. And I feel like we've done an exceptional job of that down through the years, and to pass that on to the other lads, you know, sometimes they don't listen, sometimes they don't always take the advice, but when they do, and you know, I don't think we've often been wrong in terms of the advice, and sometimes it's come back, and you need that as well. But yeah, that's a great thing. Like I've had a few run-ins myself. I remember Graham rang me one day and he said, geez, there's someone talking about you. And I was like, who's talking about me? It's like, you need to stop. I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was like, you need to stop doing like this and that or whatever. And I was like, why? What? And he was like, you just need to fucking stop doing it. And I stopped doing it. Whatever it was, I took his advice and stopped doing it. I remember I met that person. Oh, well, okay, there's 2 different things. There's one person, Graham says he can't remember the person, but I think I know who it is. But there's another one in a similar thing who, like, this, I was told this guy doesn't really like you, and now we're like, no, I wouldn't say best of friends, but we DM often.
Thick as thieves, yeah.
It's been turned around, but that, you know, you need to go through a few of those things as well, I think, on the way up. And it was good for me to have someone like Graham. We probably made our mistakes together, but I would hope I would be that sort of person for the lads on the way up.
So you mentioned the consistency thing earlier as being one of the core pieces that you pass along to this next generation, to the next group of people that want to come up. Our usual joke is, don't do it, find something else. But for the stubborn, bullheaded, want to struggle through this and try this anyways, what are a couple of the other things that you look at as fundamental right now, this day and age, the landscape the way it is, for people that want to get into this to be able to have success, however you decide to measure that success.
I think the single most important thing, right, is to show, and I will say consistency again, but to show you can do it consistently, and not even necessarily to show you can do it consistently, right? Let's say if you want an opportunity with SevereMMA and you send yourself an email, or me an email, or Graham an email, whoever it might be, the first question that person is going to ask you, if you're saying like, I want a job, I want to write for SevereMMA, they'll say, give me an example, right? If you have a blog, right, where you have an article on the 1st of January, the 7th of January, the 15th of January, 22nd, 29th, the 5th, the 12th, the 19th, the 26th, the 2nd, the 9th, you get me? If you have that, and you can say, here's my blog, and you have an article every week, or an article every 3 days, or 3 articles a week, or whatever it might be, or 3 videos a week, or 1 video, that is going to make a huge difference. That is going to make you not only show a person that you're serious about it, you show them that you have an ability, but you have a consistency as well. And that is the most important thing. Like, someone could send me an email tomorrow, or you send me a demo, I want to write for SevereMMA, what should I do? I'm going to tell them to do that, right? But also, like, why are you writing to me asking me that? Like, go out and see yourself if you can do it. YouTube's free. You know, everyone has a phone. You have a phone in front of you. You can do it.
Substack's free.
Exactly. You can do all of that. You could absolutely go out there and do it. And if you want to do it, find a way to do it, and do it like that. And then come to me. Or like, I have my go-to, right, was always go out for the next 2 months and write 3 articles every single week.
Right.
Link me them.
One of them being the UFC preview, so that you have to slog through that.
But no, do you know what I say? Breaking news articles, because those are the toughest ones, right? Because like, you have to do them pretty quickly, and so and toughest in terms of doing it all the time. You could sit down for 3 hours, go away for 10 days, and then come back. And I know it is tough to do it that way as well, but not one person has ever replied to me with that.
Right.
Not one ever. And I'd say I've sent that reply to 100 people over the last, 7 years or 13 years or whatever it's been. Not one ever. Right. So
I think the next one that asks, you should just pretend that you're sending them Conor McGregor's phone number and be like, well, here, give him a ring and see what you can do, and see what their response is. And when they say, really? No, not really. Consistency is key. I mean, it really is. Like, I'm somebody that came into this business, started as writing a blog of my own, as you said, as you've advocated, found some people that gave me opportunities, and it was just crank out, meet deadlines, do the things that do everything that is asked of you that you're capable of doing, and then ask for more, and do it consistently. Listen to advice. Okay, go through some of the other ones, because I'm going to rattle off some other thoughts here as well. Some of the other things.
I what you're saying there is right. I think, like, the thing about MMA is, well, you have to be prepared to do it for free, because even to get an opportunity to do it for free is tough. Like, it really, really, really is, because you're like, if you're working with SevereMMA, if something comes in, if we have a big video or something, you'll get money, you'll get paid, or you'll get something down the line. If we have a big sponsor or something like that, but like, where the fuck are we getting money from? Like, where are we getting? Like, where are any of these websites getting money from?
Ladies and gentlemen, if you would like to send money to SevereMMA, please contact Sean Sheehan on Twitter at Sean Sheehan BA.
Just click on my subscribe thing or whatever. But yeah, like, it's impossible. Like, they don't have money to pay the fighters. Where the fuck are you gonna get people money to pay a lad to write about it? Like, you have to do it for the passion first of all. You really have to. You have, like, be consistent, have the passion, be willing to do it for the rest of your life for free. And if it turns into a job, it's a bonus. That's the way it was for me. And I'm not saying anything that I wouldn't do myself to anyone else. That's the way it was for me. You got it years before me. But you chased it. I was someone who did not chase it for a long time. I also, and like, I'll be clear, and I am clear about this every time I get the opportunity. I fell into some good, fortunate timing, good opportunities. Like, I managed to move out to British Columbia shortly before the UFC made its debut out here, was at the newspaper 2 months before the UFC came to town for the first time. And they were like, well, we happen to have a UFC guy now, and I could go and do this stuff. I got in with UFC.com with Thomas Gerbasi, my longtime editor and boss.
at a time when there were openings and opportunities. And that was 12 years ago, but like it's been 12 years of grinding. It started with 1 article a month. And that then went to 2, which then went to 4, which then went to, we lost a couple guys. I need you to do 8. And I'm only giving you 8 because your stuff is clean. The dollar figure on those assignments has been the same for all 12 years. It's just the workload has gone up. And so if you can manage the workload, then yeah, you can make a little more money, but you got to be able to manage the workload.
100%. But like the problem with that as well, though, is if you get into that position, you're going to be able to manage the workload because you have proven you've been able to stick around for that long and do it without any money, with probably a heavy workload to even get into that position as well. It really is like the fucking survival of the fittest.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's today is that we are taping this on January 30th. It is my 14-year anniversary on Twitter, and Facebook reminds me all the time of the number of years that I wrote things like working at home before going to work, before coming home to work again. So like it was hustling articles for dirt cheap, going and tending bar and waiting tables, and then coming home and hustling articles for dirt cheap again. If you want in this business, it ain't glamorous, guys. It's not, we had Brian Campbell on here a couple weeks ago, and he was like, look, we had all of those terrible years. We had all of those lean years. TV money's making up for it now. TV money don't come for everybody, folks.
No, it's like McGregor, isn't it, really? It's like he owned the game. Like, it's funny, Francis Ngannou owned the game as well, but he didn't take it. It's absolutely ridiculous. But like, to own the game in MMA is to get fucking 100 quid a week. Like, I remember before, I was offered a pretty good gig at a pretty good website doing a lot of articles a week, right? For fuck all money.
Not a ton of money.
And a very, very good website.
Yes.
And like, it kind of broke my heart to turn that down, because like, if I had to do that, I'd probably have to give up something else I was doing and lose fucking actual money, Yep. And for me to take the step to go into work full time with Sherdog and all of that, I had to work a lot of things around it to be working full time in MMA. And like, if Sherdog said to me tomorrow, like the bloody elbow people, sorry, your time is up.
Yeah.
That'll be my time up forever, more than likely. I'll still be here with SevereMMA and I'll still be doing the podcast, but like that wouldn't, I've no way could that sustain me. I'd have to and I'd have to get a job. I'd have to change things up. Like that, everyone's at that precipice as well. Like everyone is there. There's no guarantee for anyone in this game. And like, I to take that chance to do that was a bit scary, and it's still scary, to be honest. Like everything could change. I could look at my phone after we do this and have a text from Mike Fridley and then be like, oh, well, I guess that's it for me. The dream is up. But like, when I took it over, it was October of 2021. And I was like, I'm going to give this a year. October next year, if I'm still doing it, I'm still doing it. If not, that's that, And I'm still doing it, 4 months past that anyway. So it's going
strong. You're cashing bets on the Sheehan show, on the betting show. You're doing well. It's going well, son.
I am, but
all right. So let's move off MMA for a little bit. We always like to get into some of the other things. What are the secret hidden talents of Sean Sheehan? Give me 2, give me 3. Can we cook? Can we sing? I know you can sing a little bit.
What you want to? Oh, I don't. I just got to break into song now. I don't know what I was going to sing. No, I can't. I like to sing, but I can't really sing. I can cook. I cook. I make. I try my hand at anything. Like, I love this. I've discovered this guy recently, Sam the Cooking Guy. He's I think he's from Canada actually, and he's a great YouTube channel. And he's like, myself and the missus have cooked a lot of his stuff recently, and it's fun. So I enjoy cooking. I've always liked cooking and stuff. But yeah, look. Sports is honestly the main thing for me, and I've always loved sports. Like, I was born with hurling was my first love, and I was
gonna say it goes hurling, MMA. We'll keep it on the screen a little bit, but
soccer,
soccer in there somewhere.
It's definitely hurling first, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not I'm a very simple man, like very simple man. I don't have great thoughts in my head apart from fucking thoughts about MMA or hurling or anything like that. I'm not a dreamer or anything like that. I'm not one of those people, you know. I could go from A to B very easily, very slowly, and I'd be all good. Like I'm a guy who could sit down and watch cricket for 5 hours if I had time these days. That's the sort of guy I am. Like, do you know what? I love Game of Thrones. That's the other thing I love. And House of the Dragon coming out.
Funko Pop figures.
Yeah, they're all up there just above me. If I could turn around my camera over there.
Yourself, myself, and Brandon Moreno. Funko Pops.
I was collecting Funko Pops until I got a girlfriend. And then I stopped collecting Funko Pops because they were too expensive. So now I have probably a load of Funko Pops to sell. If
I got to a certain level, and then the missus just looked at me and was like, "More?" And I was like, nah, no more. Occasionally, so we filled out Run DMC on the sly because I found 2 at the shops one day and was like, well, I gotta get Jam Master J. Like I can't just have Run and DMC. And that just came in one of the Amazon packages that most of it was her stuff. And I was like, here's all your stuff, and threw it behind me. And what was that? Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. It's just another Funko.
I have like, how many do I have up there? 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 30 up there, and then another 20 over there, and then a few big ones. And then I have like maybe 70 or 80 Funko Pops there, but I printed out like the list of Game of Thrones ones, and there's actually more out now because House of the Dragon is out.
Right.
But, whatever the list was, let's say it was 90. I had 17. I had like I
just about all of them.
No. It was so if there was 90, I had 45 or like 50 or something like that. I was just over halfway, and I was like, I've spent thousands to get here. Like, there's no way.
There's no way.
It's just not fucking happening. But yeah, it's sports and TV and bit of cooking, bit of family are my main things. But yeah, I'm not a complicated girl. You know, I'm not. I'm not really. I'm not. Are you? Are you complicated? You're more complex than me anyway. You'd have to be.
Yeah, I'm probably a little more complicated, but that's just because I'm in my head all the time. I'm one of those like stuck in my head. Like, I wish I could just not be. It's a conversation I have all the time with my editors, with family members, with close friends of like, buddy, you got to just stop thinking about these things and just get on with it. Like, I heard you and Graham obviously talking about Banshees of Inisherin on the big show this week. I'm very much a pottering. I'm in my head. I'm wondering why he's not and I'm wondering why he's not talking to me. And he says, just stop talking to me. And okay, fine, I won't. And then I'd turn up the next day and be like, okay, can we be done now? Wonderful film. If you haven't seen it, please do enjoy it. Shouts to Barry Keogh. Shouts to Jenny the Donkey.
Can you say Padraig's second name?
I mean, it's Suleiman.
Oh, Sullivan. Yeah, it's Sullivan in Irish.
Yeah.
It should really be Padraig O'Sullivan. Like, the fact you didn't put in the O. But there are, like, I suppose those parts of the world, there are a lot of like Sullivan. Like, if you go down to Kerry, everyone's an O'Sullivan or an O'Shea, and then they all have nicknames. So like, it might be, you know, Mike Tady O'Sullivan, and then there'd be a Mike, you know, Spencer O'Sullivan. There'd be Mike Jumper O'Sullivan.
Everybody's got the same name, but they're distinguished by a nickname. You mentioned going down to Kerry. I have been to your fair country and explored parts of your country, but for those that have not, what would be let's go 3 places or 3 regions that people should come and explore and enjoy of the Emerald Isle?
Not Dublin would be the first region I would give. I fucking hate Dublin with a passion. Oh my God. The best thing about the Tree Arena, right, where all the events are on and all, is that you can go in there. The hotel is like literally a stone's throw away. There's a shop there. There's a lovely restaurant there called Ruby's. I stay there for the 3 days. I literally can walk everywhere I'm going in those 3 days, and I stay out of Dublin. So that'd be the first place. Like, so I'm from Limerick. Isn't the nicest place in the world in terms of tranquility or any of that, but Limerick City had a bad reputation a few years ago. I'm from outside. I'm from more on the countryside, but it's a way nicer place now. It's not that dangerous or anything. So I always encourage someone to go to Limerick, watch a game of hurling or something like that. But I lived in Cork for 4 years, and Cork is the nicest city in Ireland by far. It's beautiful. lovely nightlife there, lovely places to eat, lovely places to stay. And, you know, I'm sure the people up the north and over the, you know, the east coast would tell you different places, but the west coast of Ireland is the nicest. Whether you go to Kerry or Galway or down through Limerick here, that's real Ireland. You know, gone down to South Kerry, gone down to Carrick-Siveen, or gone into Renard, or gone down across the water to Dingle or somewhere like that. That is, if you drive, I'm from Newcastle West. You get out, you go to Dublin Airport, you go to Shannon Airport or whatever, and just put in Carrick-Siveen into your maps, and whether it takes you 3 hours or 5 hours or 6 hours, it's worth that drive. It's the most beautiful scenery you could ever find in the world. It really is absolutely beautiful. Maybe get someone else to drive you from America, somewhere like that with good roads, because you'll probably get.
It's a little tricky. It's a little tricky. It'll be a little nerve-wracking.
Maybe get.
We enjoyed it. We enjoyed it. It was good though. We figured it out. We sorted it. It was good.
It is beautiful. But I love Ireland. Ireland is a beautiful country, you know, and the same everywhere. I'm sure you get it in Canada. There's people giving out about the politicians and all these countries in wreck and ruin and this and that and everything. And you know, they're not wrong. They're probably not wrong in a lot of ways. But like, I don't listen to that shit. I love Ireland. I love the people. We have some beautiful people here. We have the most beautiful scenery in the world. It's a nice, honest country to live in, and you can do what you want, and no one will say too much to you. And yeah, I love it. It's brilliant. I wouldn't go anywhere else.
We quite enjoyed it. I would love to come back. We probably will at some point because, you know, my wife has family still in England. It's way more enjoyable than England. We'll probably do it again. And if we do, we will swing by the Sheehan homestead and share a can or 7. Beautiful. Speaking of, what's the preferred can? What's the Sheehan choice? If you but budget isn't a concern, not looking like don't have to try to impress anybody. If it's something plain and simple, it's fine. What is the can you're reaching for first?
Budget would never be a concern with me anyway, because I don't like anything fancy or anything like that. Harp is my number one and always will be. It's like drinking milk. I love Harp. It's so beautiful. It's just the nicest drink. And I don't really drink that much, to be honest. I don't drink often. Do you know when I usually drink now? After fucking Bellator events, when it's like 1 a.m. and then the bell is ringing. Oh, we're closing here. And I have my third pint in my hand. And I'm so tired that I'm like half drunk and going to bed. At that point is usually a Heineken, because most places don't have a Harp. So I would probably put Heineken second. And after that, I don't know. I'm sure there's lovely beers out there, and you know, I would just go with like a Coors Light, because Bud Light won't pay me nothing. But I love Coors. Is lovely. Coors is the closest you can get the Harp. I might put Coors second, actually. It's a bit milky, and I like Coors. But I don't like any of that hoppy shit. I don't like any of those IPAs or anything like that. Bud Light is the most disgusting substance known to man. Do you know what I also hate here? It's not a beer, but I've said the most disgusting substance known to man. That's not. What is the most disgusting substance known to man is fucking ranch sauce. That shit. Rotten. Fucking rotten. I don't know how anyone eats that. It's the most disgusting, rotten, vile shit in the world. How can anyone eat ranch?
Come for the MMA thoughts. Stay for the ranch hot takes. I very much am in that camp as well. Blue cheese all the way with the chicken wings. And just keep ranch dressing away from me entirely. You are known as someone who at the start of every year puts out your bold predictions. And for anybody that hasn't read them or checked them out ever, please go and check out this year's. Go through Sean's Twitter feed and find them. Jump on SevereMMA and find them. They're wonderful, and they are indeed bold. They're not bold in the sense of John Jones is going to come back. They're bold. What is, and I know you got asked this, I think Graham asked you this on the big show on number 400, and I wonder if you have gone back and checked. That's why I'm here to ask again. What's the one bold, like what's the biggest bold prediction that you nailed that was just I got this one right?
I can't remember. I did pick Jamal Hill.
You did pick Jamal Hill.
I was 21 days late. I don't know. Maybe we could go back and have a look. But it's a bit of fun. I also invented the fucking ball predictions. Everyone's doing them now. Everyone is doing them now. But I invented the ball predictions. I don't care what anyone says. I've been doing it. I think it was 2013. I started doing them. So yeah, I once predicted Kevin Holland would fight for a UFC title. That didn't necessarily
Didn't
happen.
quite work out.
That didn't really happen, no. Yeah, I don't know. They're fun. Like, I love around Christmas time, you know, because I like to take a couple of days off, and it's hard sometimes to have something like, you know, you do every year. And I usually end up going back to like, what did I do last year? Oh yeah, that's what I did, and doing them. And I like to have those pieces as well that are kind of, yeah, pieces, you know, as if it's some fucking art or something. But like, you know, like the World Cup one where I give the guy. It's a bit of fun. Like, I don't know. Sometimes maybe people don't get it. I like a bit of comedy, and I like a bit of crack, and I like a bit of fun as well. And to do that, and no, I take obviously covering MMA very serious, you know. And but yeah, I like to do that as well. When I'm writing, like, do you know what we were talking about writing earlier, and talking about maybe not having that love for writing. I think a love for like comedic MMA writing or something like that could be something that could get me back into like enjoying writing or loving writing, because yeah, that's the sort of thing I would like to do. But yeah, like the bold predictions, there's a bit of comedy in them, but there's also a bit of and there's definitely a bit of comedy in the podcast that myself and Graham do every year. But yeah, I think it's fun to just kind of, you know, analyze the situation of where we are, look how things move, how things are going. Like last year, the one I got right was I said Amazon would sign a deal with a major organization. They signed with One Championship. I suppose that's one of the best ones I've ever had, to be honest.
Yep.
But that's kind of the way this landscape was going, where like Amazon had signed
somebody
with
was going there. Yeah,
they signed basketball, I think, and they had signed tennis and other things, and like there was, and they have some of the Premier League in the UK as well. So they were bound to start with some sort of MMA, and the fact they did it with One Championship, yeah, I think that was interesting. But I think like myself and Harry over in Speaker's Corner, we do that a lot. We did in the opening days anyway. Maybe we need to get back to that even a little bit again. I think it would be fun to like an overview of MMA, because that's always the way I've looked at MMA, I suppose. Like, I remember thinking about doing this, but like thinking about getting into MMA, I remember like what I loved about MMA was the fact it wasn't like just a fight. The fact it wasn't just a scrap. I love that there was like these lads were legitimate athletes, and they had techniques, and they were taught to do it and all. And then as I got more into that and understood that and looked at that, I love looking at MMA from the outside, and you know, with my kind of mathematical equations in my head, looking how this and this adds up to this, and where it's going in this way. And now the bold predictions are that with like a little bit of hot sauce, maybe.
Right.
And a lot of times they don't work, but a lot of that is because you're looking at it going this way, or this way. So yeah, that's yeah. I think it's interesting looking at MMA that way as well, because we often, like, I don't think we often do in the larger landscape, because you know there's UFC fucking Lewis versus Spivak, and then UFC, you know, 298 or
284,
285 and 286, and the 7 events in between all of those. And it can get a little like you can't have an overview of things because you're viewing it, you know. It's what is it, to see the wood for the trees? It's very, very hard to do that with MMA, because there's so many fucking trees. But yeah, that's interesting. There's a fly in front of me.
So one of the things that you have, I don't know if you, I mean, let's just ask it this way. How did you become the foremost expert on judging? How did this become your corner? That you ended up being the guy that on Saturday nights here in North America, very early Sunday morning there in Ireland, everybody is looking to see. There's like 3 or 4 accounts that I will look to that I want to see their scores. It's yourself, it's Scott Fontana, it's Dan Urban. That's about it. It's you and the Couchside Judges. And I want to see what you guys think, because I know you've done the work. How did you end up being this guy, and how did this become the corner that you have decided to occupy?
First of all, I'm glad you said those 3 names and left it at that, because if there was anyone else, I'd be like, probably not.
No, there's not anybody else. It's listen, I'm going to experts.
Yeah, and those guys are great. I absolutely love them. By the time this comes out, I've had Scott on over in Sherdog to do a podcast. So if you haven't checked that out yet, please check it out. As with everything in MMA, I kind of fell into it, and just like, you know what's weird, right? I'm not a great interviewer, because like I'm not a great conversationalist with people maybe I don't know, or you know, I met for the first time. If I've known you for like 3 weeks, I'd have a great conversation with you, or if I've known you for 3 months, but like meeting someone for a first time, or even like a night or something like that, and at the end of the night, oh, we could be great friends or whatever. But like my small talk and stuff like that isn't great, right? Where the fuck am I going with this? Where what did you ask me about judging?
How did judging become your corner?
Where the fuck am I going with this? Anyway, right. So I don't know where I was going with that. So okay, so when I got this is how I just started where I got into judging. So when I was watching fights back in the day, Paddy Pimblett was where was I going with it? I can't remember. When I was watching Paddy Pimblett versus Julian Erosa, and the result was very, very controversial, we might say, and Paddy Pimblett was the winner on the night, but a lot of people thought Julian Erosa should have been the winner, and he wasn't. So one of the judges in that fight was Ben Cartledge, and I remember I put out a tweet that said, so first of all, I tweeted the result of the fight, Paddy Pimblett won, and I think 90 people or something replied, and I remember tweeted 90 people replied to the Sweden, every single one of them had it for Julian Erosa, right. And the judges, I think, took umbrage with me tweeting that, even though it was just actually correct. But I did also say it was a bad decision and a robbery and all of that. So yeah, Bindin. There was a comment, shall we say, said about me in a pretty negative manner, which was fair at the time. I was after shitting all over that guy, what I give out to people for doing now. So I blocked him on Twitter, and I was like, that's that. I've not enough time for this shit. Grant. Or muted maybe, or I can't remember. I moved on. And then like a few months later, I got a message on Facebook from Ben saying, look, sorry about that. I didn't, he obviously went and like listened to the podcast and realized that I wasn't a prick all the time, as opposed to just that night.
Wasn't a total asshole, just was in that moment.
And then we started to like have a few conversations, back and forth together about different things. And, it was, it was interesting. I remember how I was going with that bite now. I finally got it back. So like when you talk to someone about something in an interview, you kind of, I think you get that kind of that bare understanding of it. But when you know someone and you you've done it obviously very well, interviewing people over and over and over, knowing them for years, and you see it on this conversation with it, you get more out of it, you get more understanding with it. And I think with me, with judging, having people like Ben and other people who I speak to and haven't spoke to them over and over and over again, you get kind of a deeper understanding, I suppose, of the issue, of the what's at hand. And I think that's what's kind of happened with judging, because I spoke to Ben after that. We kind of, we made up or whatever. and then I was like, so my interest went deeper than a 10-minute interview or a thanks, this is great. My interest in MMA is not like the first 10 minutes. It's not a quick conversation. It's not, there's a controversial decision and you have a show on Monday, you go on it and you give out for 10 minutes. You get on someone who agrees with you, they agree with you, and then you move on. That's fact. That's not how I fucking work. If I ever work like that, please try to call me out on it, right? So someone disagreed with me. I listened to what they were saying. I looked at their side of it as well as my side of it. And for what? So that was 2017. 5 years. Maybe I've talked about judging this decision, that decision, gone through this line of the criteria, that line of the criteria, that line of the criteria with some of the best judges in the world, and done it over and over and over again. Watched fights online with the judges as they're watching them and as they understand it and as they explain it, and realized as I broke down the criteria myself, outside of talking to any of them, is like the way they're doing it makes a lot of sense when you look at it via the criteria in this way. And like I have tried then to bring that knowledge over. It's not even knowledge, it's just
it's
just
an understanding
information and an understanding of it over. It's very hard because sometimes it comes off as preachy and sometimes it comes off as like, oh, you're saying I don't know what I'm watching when I'm watching it. And like, it couldn't be the further from the truth. It was saying I didn't know what I was watching. We know this is what to watch out for it, and then we can all score it in the correct manner.
Right.
And I think that's kind of where it's come from. So like to go back on all of this again, to have that, you need to put in an inordinate amount of time to gain that knowledge of every single integer, of every single line of the criteria as it kind of preludes to every single fucking fight and every single part of it. And it's very hard to do, very, very hard to do. And, you know, to have that, to try to have an understanding is the biggest part of it. And the biggest frustration for myself, who was trying to put that out there, and for the judges as well, is that when people don't want to kind of even try to have that understanding,
right,
all they care about is their opinion, even if their opinion doesn't go with the criteria or whatever. And it's very, very frustrating. So what I've tried to do is just help. We talked about it. We talked earlier about
right.
Help the lads coming up, try to impart the knowledge. You know, as I said, some of them listen and some of them don't listen. The ones who listen, generally, I think they get something from it. The ones who don't listen are not there on a Monday morning roaring into the void saying robbery.
Right.
So, yeah, it's very hard. I found it so hard, really hard to get that over. I don't think I've been that successful at all at it. But the journey continues, I suppose. I
mean, I think you've maybe if you're saying you haven't been that successful, I would say you have certainly made headway, because there are, to me, I judge things, and this is the thing I've had to come to learn. I judge things by the useful voices that are listening and responding, right? There's some quote about don't listen to the opinions of people you wouldn't seek advice from. And so, sure, there are lots of SevereMMA 97 with a fist pose in their avatar that probably think you're an idiot and don't know what you're talking about. But John Anik has you on his show whenever there's a judging question. John Anik and Kenny Florian, I should say. It's their show together. Anik and Florian podcast. Weekly on, I don't even remember where it's on.
It's on DraftKings now, yeah.
Shouts to the boys. They pay attention. As you mentioned earlier, Laura Sanko reaches out. Scott and Dan bring you on. They have similarly spoken to everybody. And so people with value and substance recognize and have listened and are paying attention. For anybody that wants more info, I believe it's still your pinned tweet. Is it still your pinned tweet? The judging criteria. Sean Sheehan breaks down the judging criteria. As he often says, it's 3 pages. It's not that long of a video. Like, just sit down and watch it and learn exactly what it is that these men and women that score these fights are paying attention to. And then if you want to disagree and you want to disregard it and all like that, fine. But if you do want on your fight nights to understand and to get a good representation of where your scores match up, follow Sean, follow Scott Fontana, follow Dan Urban, listen to the Couchside Judges, listen to Shawnee on the Monday show or on the big show. He'll give you both sides. He'll do it correctly.
I think it's interesting, like, because you said there, and I agree with what you said. What is it? Don't take the opinion of someone you wouldn't seek advice from. There's a weird part to that though, because like there's a lot of coaches out there. You'd say, I want their opinion on the fight.
There's some stuff I'd like their opinion on, but there's some stuff that I don't really need their opinions on.
I find that so weird. Like,
so do I.
You are preparing these massive top level fights for these top level athletes, and you don't know how to score a fucking fight yourself. You think that would be one of the first things you do? Read 3.5 pages, go and talk to a judge file. I know, as I just said, it's not that simple to do that by no means, but like
Harry and I think there was an episode of The Takeaways not that long ago when Harry and I were like, we should open a I can't think of the word now. Jesus, consulting business. Yeah. Where we go around and we work with coaches and we work with gyms and we talk about the strategic things you should do and how you should implement them and what we're looking for and what the judges are looking for and what can lead to you to be most successful. And he was like, isn't that what coaching is for? And I was like, because
it's surprising because
it's crazy.
Most of the coaches, right, in MMA are really good at like being salesmen, right? Because to have a successful gym, you know, you probably need to be a better salesman than you do to be a coach at this stage of it, you know? And the fact that they don't have that knowledge, which you think would help them sell themselves better or sell their ability better, to me is absolutely baffling. It's really, really, really baffling. And for me, like, say, as a fan watching it or as someone covering the sport watching, when I kind of had someone with that knowledge being willing to give it to me, of course I was going to like eat that up. And that's where I was getting all addled at the start there. Like, oh, well, if I get 5 minutes of doctor, well, what am I talking about? It's like to have that resource out there. And like, I remember I put out a thing before us and after was like one of these big controversial things before, like, and to be fair now, and well, I'll finish my point first. I put out a tweet saying, any podcast, any fighter, any coach out there, if you want to like look at the criteria, I'm here, give me a call. And I think I was asked on like 2 podcasts, and one of them were like, "Oh, should we get Sean on?" Like loads of people said yes, absolutely, and they never bothered doing it. Like it's so weird. But like the one thing I think I pat myself on the back, I kind of have achieved. I think most people involved in MMA right now, journalists and all of that, I think a lot of people have actually read the criteria. Right, reading the criteria just like 3.5 pages deep is great. It will help, but it's certainly not enough. It's certainly not. And sometimes that little bit of knowledge is actually nearly worse than no knowledge altogether.
It's true.
You think you know.
It's true.
You don't know.
You think you've figured it all out.
And like, I'm proud of the fact that a lot of people have read it, and hopefully I've helped that way. And that, you know, the UFC broadcast has changed their intro into pay-per-views, the way they read out the criteria. I would love to think that I had helped in that somewhere. I love the fact that I have talked to, 2 commentators now who commentate in the UFC multiple times about it. I would love to hope to help along that way. And look at that, yeah, that beautiful T-shirt there. Well, I need to get the last 2 out of there. Just the first 2. If we were
the little bit fine print that nobody can see, as it says in that order.
In that order. There
right
you go,
there, folks.
I made sure to get that in when they were designing that T-shirt to get it put in there, but yeah,
there it is. There's the scoring criteria in that order.
It's good. MMA
courtesy of Shawnee.
It's basically my Game of Thrones, isn't it? That's what it is. I'm the little finger of MMA judging. That's what I am.
Hey, listen. He met a sad end, but it was the end he was always destined for. This is what you were destined for, is to be this guy. One more thing before I let you get out of here. I know this last year, really, more than others, your passion or your enjoyment of the UFC has really waxed and waned. But at the same time, your enjoyment of, because you cover all the other shows, PFL, Bellator, One, over at SureDog, you do shows on all of them, has really kind of elevated. And you've sort of hit that point where for a long time this space was built of strictly UFC people, and you're sort of starting to shift a little bit to be the everything but UFC person. What's it been like to sort of navigate those waters of the biggest show isn't doing it for you anymore, but hang on, there's a lot of really great stuff outside of these 8 walls?
Do you know what? It's great because it's not everything but the UFC, right? It's everything but the UFC, but the best fights in the UFC,
Right.
Which is the sweet spot, I think, because I just think there's too much in the UFC. And we've got into this loads of times, so we won't go into this exact part of it again about the UFC, but like, I just think, do you know what? When you watch One, or you watch PFL, or you watch Cage Wars, I think there's like an understanding, and even Bellator to an extent, there's an understanding kind of what they are, and there's an understanding of what a lot of the fights mean. Graham used the word jeopardy all the time on SevereMMA, and for the UFC, like the vast majority of fights have absolutely no jeopardy, unless it's I'm going to get cut from the UFC if I lose, right? The vast majority of fights, like even you look at a fight like who did Raquel Pennington fight a couple of weeks ago? Kettle Vieira. those are like what, number 3 and number 5 in the world. Just like, I mean, meaningless fight. Like, and I like to do them. I respect them, and I respect every single fighter from, you know, Raul Rosas all the way up to Conor McGregor. You know, I respect every single one of them. But there's a point like that. These fights don't really mean that much. Whereas like a one championship fight, like if it's a lightweight fight, there's like 7 lightweights in that whole fucking thing. One of them wins it. He could be fighting Tan Lee, or he could be fighting, you know, for the title, or, you know, the Ritter's fighting every second event. And I think that the fact, the lack of events as well, you can really, like, the Ritter has fought like fucking 4 times last year, and he fought in like half of their events or something like that. It's I think that really, really helps him, because it's a thing like in WWE or AEW, whatever you watch. You can get more of an affinity for the fighters because they're on it every week. You know, they're on it every single week. Like, that's why I think people got an affinity for Khamzat, because it felt like he was fighting every week at one stage, you know. But now the fact that he hasn't, I think that's waned a little bit. It's very hard to build yourself a fan base or build an affinity when not only you're not fighting every week or every month or on every show, but between you fighting and you fighting again in 3 months down the line, there has been 12 shows with at least 10 fights on every show. That's 140 fighters between you and you. Like, that's a very hard waters. Very, very hard waters to swim through. And just for me, it's like there's too many people. I loved, like, some people might not understand it, or some people might not get it. When I started watching MMA, and, you know, I somewhat am like that still, but there's just too much, you can't keep up with it. Everything. I needed to know everything. I needed to watch every jiu-jitsu video, every fucking kickboxing video, every MMA fight. I needed to know every fighter, what gym. I needed to know fucking everything. And the fact you can't do that in the UFC anymore has been a real heartbreak. Like, in many ways, like, I cannot be what I once was. It's almost impossible. It's like, you know, maybe you can, because you cover like 99% the UFC, and it's your job to do it every single week. As you said, it's no longer my job to do that every single week. But for fans who have a full-time job, and whose full-time job it isn't to cover the UFC, it's nigh on impossible. Like, nigh on fucking possible to do it. And I think the fact that it's easier to do it with other places, you can still get the top fights in the UFC. There's like a good balance there. And I think, you know, you said about like, I kind of, it wasn't that I fell in and out of love with the sport in the last year, but it's like I usually have, and I think, look, everyone has it in life. There's one stage in the year where you're like, oh, fuck's sake. Another week, another UFC with Derek Lewis, another Sean Strickland. I was like, oh my God, is this ever going in? And I got it twice last year. And I was like, oh, shit. This is a lot. This is a lot. But yeah, I've been out of it now for a good couple of months, and I'm really enjoying it. I was in a great mindset to start the year, and then Dana White comes out and does what he does, and then the whole Phil Brownie stuff, and then Stephen Boyce and I tried to keep my mindset straight to get through it, and I have, I think, which is being great. But it's tough. Yeah, it is tough to get through it all. But like last year, I watched the PFL. I love watching the PFL. Like, I've really grown to like the PFL. Because, and you know, this sounds like I'm fucking Sean O'Connell or someone, but like, they have it's a meritocracy. They have a fucking league. You win your fights, you get to the next level, you can win the million. Look at Brendan Loughnane. He fucking did it. He went out and he owned the game and fucking did it. You gotta love that. Like, sometimes, you know, we can all be a bit negative, and me fucking more so than many. But I love that shit. I fucking love that shit. And the same now with Patchy Mix and Rafi and Satz over in Bellator. Bellator have done a lot of shit in the last year that hasn't been great. But the fact that they can go out and do that, and, you know, like the fact that the UFC don't do that, and they don't do anything fun, and like they don't have events like we have here in Ireland with Bellator, or they don't go to Hawaii like Bellator have done, or they don't do the really cool walkouts that the Rising and Bellator cards have, or letting, you know, non-stamp Fairtex do that unbelievable dance walkout that she does, and all of that. It's just, or that, you know, in one championship when someone wins the belt and all the fucking ticker tape comes down, just, it's a bit different, it's a bit cool, it's a bit fun.
Hands them a gigantic belt,
and Demetri Johnson falls over with the belt. You gotta love things like that. I feel like when I was coming up in the UFC, a lot of the reason I loved it was fucking Rampage dry humping people, and, you know, maybe not necessarily that now, but you get what I mean. Or like him catching Ariel by the neck, or going, you know, Ariel goes, "You want to squash this?" People, he's like, "You want to squash it?" You know, things like that. Or, you know, himself and John Jones going back and forth, or Chael and Anderson going back and forth, and you know, if I'm a bitch, treat me like a bitch. You know, the Rashad and Rampage and the Tough. I love that sort of stuff. Love it. And we've none of that anymore. We've none of that anymore. Even Tough. Maybe McGregor will be in it now. Shout out to SevereMMA. Maybe he'll bring back a bit of it. But like, when Tough changed, right? I can tell you the exact moment that the fun went out of the UFC. When Tough went to care more about the fights than it did about the drama. That's when the UFC was fucked. I'm telling you. Tough just got so fucking boring. We're seeing fights every weekend. You're giving us one extra fight and in an hour preparation for it. Give me a fucking hour of people like headbutting each other and throwing glasses at each other and, you know, shitting into the cistern of the zinc. Give me that. I don't care about this fucking fight. Might be a good fight. I care about the fight. Give me 10 minutes of the fight, but give me 50 minutes of shit talk. Give me 50 minutes of fun. There's no fun anymore. I just bring the fun back to the UFC, and I'll be back. No problem. I'll be in with it the whole time. It just feels that way. I saw
Sheehan 2023. Bring the fun back to MMA.
I saw Josh Thompson talking about it the other day, and I don't know if you heard this on the podcast or not, but like, he was saying about fighters should do interviews with other fighters and all of that. And like, a lot of MMA journalists were like, "Oh, what the fuck are you talking about?" And go in. There's great journalists out there. What the fuck are you talking about? But I think in general, like, there's a massive disconnect, I think, in America between the fighters and like the journalists or
I think the point you made on the show about very different for yourself and Graham and the crew in Ireland that has been following these guys and has built the rapport, and they have an understanding of what they're going to get when they speak with SevereMMA and how it's going to go, was a very salient one. Because the other piece you said in there is that there's all these TikTok accounts and all of these Twitter accounts and all of these IG accounts that hold themselves out as we're media, come and do an interview, and it's just to chase clout. And then people get misquoted, they get taken out of context to create these situations. So I know you're going to say I kind of agree with Josh Thompson. I kind of agree too, of pick your spots. I don't think it has to just be fighters, but pick your spots. Don't do every MMA show. Don't do every single interview that is asked of you, because there's a lot of people that are listen, and I don't say this begrudgingly or like shitting on people. It's a lot of people that are just starting out and are going to ask you the same 6 questions as the next guy that's just starting out that you've agreed to talk to because they reached out on IG. Pick your spots. Go to the people that you either have a relationship with or that you can go through and go, okay, who is this person? What have they done? We do our research on our end. Do a little on your end to find out who you're agreeing to give your time to, because your time is valuable. Continue. And
I've had to do that myself as well, because people have asked me on there
100%.
But like, and what I was saying there earlier is not really shitting on American MMA or Canadian MMA journalists. I think maybe it's just the size of the country and the disconnect, and you don't, like, we're very lucky here in Ireland. It's a family affair kind of, but people like yourself could do it, or James Lynch or Ariel obviously can do it. And I named 3 Canadians there, but I didn't mean it. Ariel's an American now, actually, so I take it back. So, but I think that's a very a very interesting part of it. Like, even when I spoke to McGregor last year in the interview, a lot of people were saying, "Oh, we see the real McGregor again." A lot of that as well is just like talking in his accent, and because he's talking to another Irish person. I think that's very interesting. Like, that fighters getting their actual, like, and this whole point came from like the fun and getting to know the real people. Like, I remember I interviewed Miles Jury, and I'm sure he's a lovely fella, but it was the most boring 4 minutes of my life. Like, I'm like,
right.
There's no one getting anything from this. You're just treating me as something like, was it Marshawn Lynch? Is that
just here so I don't get fined?
Exactly. That's what Miles Jury was like. What? I don't understand the mentality of that. I really like, say something interesting or be fun. I've invited a few people on the podcast as well before, and not fighters, media members. Big opportunity, and one of the most listened to podcasts in the fucking world. And lads have been there after 20 minutes, and you can see they're like, ugh. Are we still going? Are we still talking about this fight? And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck are you actually? And I think for fighters, the fact that, look, we all realize we're not all sweet summer children, like poor old Francis. We realize we gotta fucking sing for our supper. We gotta. And when there's people out there, you know, who are willing to like help you do that, and most people are. When I go on to interview someone, unless there's something really serious, I've no life. Like even then, I don't have any gotcha questions. I'll ask someone straight fucking out. You know, I'm not trying to. I think the vast majority of people, as you said, you do your research. You talk to me, you know, Ian, James, Lynch, Ari. Those people are not going to fucking take the piss out of you. You know what's coming. If there's a question that's going to need to be asked, it's going to be asked. But mostly, it's going to get your personality out there. If you have a cool story, go out and tell it. And I feel like we have kind of lacked that, especially with maybe the American fighters. Maybe I'm biased towards Irish fighters. When I interview an Irish fighter, it's so much easier. And I think it's so much easier for me interviewing an Irish fighter than even an American interviewing an American fighter, just because like, we I don't know, maybe there's too much of an image to hold up or something like that, or maybe the Irish fighters have seen McGregor doing it and they're like, well, we can do it too, or we know these lads and we can be ourselves with them. Maybe there's a piece of that with it, but whatever the problem is, whatever the solution is,
I honestly think part of the problem is that there's a lot of folks on this side of the pond that it's not about the athletes. It's about them trying to make a name for themselves and them trying to show out and them trying to have that moment themselves where the focus can be on them, whether that's, you know, having their own personal flourishes, having their own persona, whether it's, you know, wanting to go out and just having, as you said, those gotcha question, those moments where, hey, I was the guy that stood out at the press conference because I asked this, that, or the other. Whereas the people that are here week in, week out, just looking to tell your story, get your name out there, get a piece of you out there so that more people can understand who you are, why you do this, whatever is going on in your life, are fewer and further between than they used to be, even though the landscape features far more people than it ever has before.
One of the favorite things I've done in the last year is when at Bellator, I asked everyone what would they eat right now if they could, like hours before the weigh-ins, which was the meanest question anyone could ever ask, but also like so fun to do it. And all of them were like, oh, I'd love a fucking pizza. And they were right outside like a cookie shop. And everyone's like, oh my God, give me a cookie. And like, everyone's a pizza, like nearly all. But you know, it's something like that. If I saw someone else doing that and I watch that, I'd be like, oh, well, this is funny. Or, you know, we're seeing like Brian Moore or Yoel Romero or whoever in a different light. And it's, I love that sort of shit. I really love it. And that's something we need more. Like I spoke earlier about being in the Crooklyn show and Michael Bisping being there in the chat or Tito. And I feel like I know those people even before I knew them. I think a lot of that makes it easier for me to maybe talk to fighters and stuff as well, because I've been around talking intimately is the wrong word, but you know what I mean, in person with fighters for a long time. And that's something I think we've really lost in MMA. If I was to say like the biggest issue with MMA outside of all the important issues that, you know, the A and the CT and all of that, is that it's just the love, as we'd say here in Ireland, for fighters or for people or for stories in MMA has kind of gone. Like I can't remember the last one that I was like stuck to fucking Twitter, like, oh, what's the next thing? What's this going to be? Like, where, you know, we don't even get failed drug tests anymore. You know, when was the last time we got a fucking failed drug test? It's been years.
The last time somebody ran from USADA.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I miss that. Like, I miss, you know, Aldo breaking his rib and everyone being like, oh my God, is the fight going to happen? Who's going to fight? And then the story coming out like McGregor, he was just woke up for 5 seconds. Like, I'd fight fucking anyone. Went back to sleep and the Chad Mendez fight was signed, sealed and delivered. You know, just things like, you can't beat stuff like that. The video coming out of Daniel Cormier when he was told that John Jones popped and he's slamming his feet into the ground. Like, it was terrible for Daniel Cormier. And, you know, I shit in Daniel Cormier all the time, but I'm sure he's a lovely guy and I would never wish anything bad to him, including that. But it's
a real raw moment. Yeah.
When was the last time we saw something like that? It feels like they're all cookie cutter fucking Premier League, you know, PR fucking dummies now. And I hate it. And they're not that. Like, these people are not, these are real people, funny people, great people. And I just wish we could see more of them, because we love their fighting. We'll never stop loving their fighting. But if we love their personality or hated their personality as well, look like someone like a Matt Hughes or someone like that, it makes it more exciting. It makes it different. That, that's my main problem with UFC, because in one and in Cage Warrior sometimes, and in even Bellator to a lesser extent, we do see it and we see more of it. Like the story of Brendan Loughnane in PFL was one of the best stories of the last year. Where's a story like that in the UFC? Like but maybe Pereira was one of them, but like it was a bit of a weirder one as well. But yeah, I don't know. That's the thing I think would exponentially improve my enjoyment of MMA. I think if that went a bit backwards. The fighting is great, but let me have some fun.
I think that's a good place to leave it. Sean wants more fun. Listen, folks, give the man more fun. He's given you 13, 14 years of his life, 400 consecutive weekends of recording a podcast, plus 52 weeks last year with 6 shows at least per week. Shawnee, you are an absolute legend and an absolute titan in this space. I am honored to call you a friend. I'm honored to call you a colleague. I can't thank you and Graham enough for bringing me over here and just being like, you're kind of part of the family anyways. Why don't you just come and actually be here? Before we get out of here, tell everybody where to follow you. And, well, I mean, if you want them to follow you and just see what you're putting out every week.
Don't bother following me. Follow Spencer. Follow Ian. Follow Andy. Follow Quilcha. Follow all the lads. Don't bother following me, because like those are the next. Like I truly believe that as well. I'm saying that,
Well,
but
listen, go follow his stuff so that his stuff gets watched and you watch his stuff.
Sure, do that. Follow
Sean Sheehan BA.
Yeah, sure. Follow SevereMMA, Sherdog. But follow like all the lads over in Sherdog as well, doing great work. Absolutely fantastic. And one thing we don't do as much anymore as well. Tweet someone's stuff out. Like, not even mine. Forget about me. But like, tweet out Spencer's video. Tweet out this video and go, love your interview, Spencer. Maybe the last one. Maybe this one wasn't as good now. Whichever one. Or tweet out Andy's interview or Ian's interview or fucking James Lynch's interview, whoever it might be. Do that. And I think that really helps people. And it's, I've mentioned Sam.
Are you saying we should bring back Follow Fridays? Hashtag FF?
Should. Yes, I am saying that.
All right.
I am saying that.
Me and you, we're bringing it back this Friday.
We're bringing it back this Friday. Follow Friday's coming back. That guy, Sam the cooking guy who I mentioned earlier, on his YouTube channel, he's like, if you don't subscribe, you're a fucking freeloader. That's what he says. So everyone fucking subscribe if you're watching this, and subscribe everywhere. So that's what we leave it at that.
That's what we should add at the end of all of our severe videos as well. If you don't subscribe, you're a fucking freeloader.
Yeah.
Follow Sean. Follow SevereMMA. Follow all the lads. Follow all the boys over at Sherdog. Follow Steffi at Crooklyn MMA, I believe is the handle. We've shouted her out a few times. Go follow all of the Bloody Elbow crew before that site goes away. Thank you for doing this, my friend. For Sean, I'm Spencer. This is A Conversation With, and we'll see you next week.